What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we have both the Ultra League and the Master League Battle of Spice, as there were only 5 Master League entries, so it didn't really make sense to make 2 separate videos. Now for the Ultra League, I'm going to be showcasing 12 submissions, which does unfortunately mean that a few submissions do miss out, but I will be showcasing all 5 of the Master League submissions. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. In future iterations of the Battle of Spice, should I introduce an ELO or rank requirement for submissions, or should rank at least be taken into account and displayed on the screen for each submission? A lot of people have made comments in the past saying that in order to win the Battle of Spice, you just have to tank to a low enough elo where you can get a win with quite literally anything. Now originally I didn't want to put too many restrictions on the Battle of Spice, as I wanted it to be as inclusive as possible and allow anyone, regardless of their skill level, to feel like they could participate. But of course people can definitely take advantage of that and just keep on tanking in elo until they get a win. And off the top of my head, I think the lowest elo submission I can remember was all the way down in the 1300s, which you genuinely have to be awful at the game to be that low normally, and of course it means you can quite easily get a win even with a very spicy team. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Let's go into the first battle, and we've got the Shadow Legendary Beast, but in their shiny shadow forms, of course only available for the Ultra League. This is the Ultra League Battle of Spice though, and we're leading with the shiny Shadow Raikou. Gonna tank the crunch there, they do drop our defense, doesn't really matter, as we're gonna go straight for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge connects, but it actually doesn't quite get the KO there, and unfortunately that's also a CMP tie. You can see we did try to swap out into the Suicune, but unfortunately just gonna let the shiny Shadow Raikou go down. Come in with the Suicune, and we're able to at least make it to an Ice Beam. Probably going to grab a shield here, and then we will be swapping into our shiny Shadow Entei. And those of you that have watched a few of my live streams, I've used this trio many times in the past in the Great League, and very few times have I ever had success, so I understand just how difficult it is to win with a team like this. But I also know that Entei is definitely the worst of the trio. However, in this battle, Entei is able to make it to back-to-back Scorching Sands, gets the KO up against the Feraligatr, and we've still got a shield in play, so I'm going to use our final shield there, then going to swap, make a beautiful catch onto our shiny Shadow Suicune. Sacred Sword is of course going to be neutral damage. They will need to fire off another Charge Beam, and they do throw just before we make it to the Ice Beam, so good counting on the opponent's end. However, it's not going to matter, as Entei comes back in, can go straight for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge will be enough damage to take out Virizion, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we've got a pretty pink theme team here. We're going to lead with Espeon, and the opponent is running Vaporeon. So we've got a battle of the evolutions here. We're going straight for the Shadow Ball. Probably could have gotten away with just going for a Psychic Fangs there, but either way, going to grab that shield advantage, just guarantee either big damage or a shield. And now we can come back in with Serena here and possibly go for a full Magical Leaf Farm down here. We're going to no-shield. The opponent goes for an Aqua Tail. The only neutral move that Vaporeon does learn is going to be Last Resort, but honestly, if someone's running Vaporeon, I very much doubt they're going to be running a Legacy move on it. But either way, we swap into our shiny Absol with the sunglasses, and the opponent comes in with their own very spicy team here. They've got Exeggutor in the back. We are going to shield this up. The opponent goes for a Seed Bomb, and Absol is incredibly attack weighted by the way, so I think at this point the safe play is just to double shield and farm up to 100 energy here, and we're doing exactly that. Really nice play. Gonna go straight for the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse, of course, gonna be taking out the Exeggutor, and a second Dark Pulse gonna be hitting for super effective damage up against Delphox, easily taking out Delphox, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we've got a triple bug team here, and we got a shiny Shadow Pinsir in the lead, and we are going to go straight for close combat here, throwing on what looks to be a CMP tie. Close combat still doesn't quite get the KO there. That is very unfortunate. At this point, just going to let the Thunder Punch take out the Shadow Pinsir. Going to come in with a Scolipede, go for the Poison Jab farm down, and the opponent comes in with a Drapion. Now, this isn't the worst thing ever, as we are resisting the poison damage from the Drapion. They're also resisting our Poison Jabs. Exeter does some okay damage here, and by the time we make it to the next Exeter, maybe we'll put them into range where Exeter will get the KO, and if not, it will get them very low. So gonna throw on CMP. Exeter grabs the shield from the opponent, and at this point we're actually gonna let the Scolipede go down. Aqua Tail actually doesn't quite take us out there, so we swap into Livani, and we're able to make it to an Exeter. Exeter should be enough damage from this range to get the KO. The opponent does no shield, and they've got Feraligatr in the back, so we're up a shield here. This should be a very comfortable matchup for us. We definitely just going to shield this up. The opponent's going to go for the Hydro Cannon bait. Doesn't really matter. Just play it safe. Use both our shields. We're going to go for the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade grabs the final shield. And since this is a non-shadow for Alligator, it actually probably won't quite get the KO there. And just for the sake of it, we're going to make a catch onto a Scolipede. Absolutely, completely unnecessary. But Ice Beam gets the KO. We can come in, get the Shadow Claw farm down, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got Armored Mewtwo in the lead. Now, Armored Mewtwo I definitely think is a lot less spicy than the regular version, at least in the Ultra League. But we're still using it anyways. We're going to swap into a Sand Attack Stoutland here, and we're going to tank the Blast Burn. Not super comfortably, but we do tank it, and we can now shield up the next Blast Burn. Going to overfarm here, farming 2 nearly back-to-back Wild Charges. Wild Charge number 1 does big damage, but it doesn't quite take them out there, and we're unsure if we can get a full Sand Attack farm down, so we actually fire off a Crunch. Crunch is going to get the KO there. We maintain alignment, and they come back in with the Shadow Machamp. The opponent's going to swap straight away into Gengar, and we're going to come in with our Ursaring. So of course, gonna no shield. They didn't farm up to the potential Focus Blast. Sludge Bomb still does huge damage, but they will not be able to Shadow Claw farm us down. They have to fire off another charge move. We're gonna no shield. Shadow Punch double resisted, still gets the KO, but it doesn't really matter. We've still got our Armored Mewtwo, and the opponent is finally gonna have to take some damage from these confusions on their Shadow Machamp. We are going to shield the first move. They full send the Stone Edge there, which pretty much implies that they're not going to be running payback. Can we tank the Stone Edge here on our Mewtwo? We absolutely can. Armored Mewtwo, absolute tank, and we're able to take that game. But into the next battle, another tanky confusion user in the form of Oranguru, but we're actually running Future Sight here, so I wonder if we are going to go and full send a Future Sight into the Talonflame. No, we're actually going to go for a Brutal Swing. I'm not so sure about this. They're not going to shield this, or at least they're quite unlikely to, as Oranguru doesn't hit particularly hard, and of course, the typical moveset is going to be Trailblaze as the other move there, which would be double resisted. But either way, we're going to grab a shield from the Talonflame and possibly just let Oranguru go down. They go for another Flame Charge there. Flame Charge, gonna boost their attack. Can we get a Fire Spin farm down? No, we're not able to do so, so definitely gonna have to shield this up as the opponent goes for the fly this time around, but we can go for a full Fire Spin farm down, coming out with a decent amount of energy, although this energy, unfortunately, not gonna be very useful up against a Tentacruel, which will resist everything left on our team, actually, as Persimmon, I believe, only has fighting type moves to throw. Actually, maybe, I think it has Brutal Swing these days, so maybe that's wrong, but either way, we are going to let the Infernape go down to the Scald, come in with Persimmon, and we are actually not running Brutal Swing anyways. We're running Brick Break and Close Combat. We're going to fire off a charge move here into this Pangoro. Brick Break is going to be shielded by the opponent. The opponent will fire off a charge move, which we are going to shield. It's the Close Combat, and that means one more counter gets the KO, and we can just fire off a charge move into the Tentacruel coming back in. We go for the Brick Break. Brick Break gets the KO from that range, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Seviper in the lead up against a Galarian Weezing. So I believe this is a level 50 Seviper. We are going to no-shield the first charge move as the opponent goes for a Brutal Swing. We're now going to overfarm quite a lot, which I'm not really sure makes too much sense, as we are running Poison Fang. Poison Fang, of course, going to debuff the opponent's defense there, but actually we're only going to make it to one Poison Fang anyways, as the next Fairy Wind will take us out before we even make it to a second Poison Fang. So pretty embarrassing that Seviper loses the zero shield scenario up against Galarian Weezing, but either way, we come in with our Salazzle, and we are going to finally use a shield here. We get the full Incinerate farm down. The opponent comes in with Greninja. We go for one Incinerate, and then we're going to full send the Dragon Pulse here. Dragon Pulse is going to be no-shielded by the Greninja. They come in with a Venusaur, and unfortunately Venusaur just has nowhere to run up against this team. We've got 3 Poison-type Pokemon. The opponent goes for a Frenzy Plant. Actually, that does substantial damage to the Arbok, but we're going to go and full send a Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot gets the one-shot there. The opponent comes back in with Greninja. And at this point, I think the safe play is actually to shield this. They are at back-to-back charge moves, but this will mean that the Dragon Tail damage registers, and that puts them into one Incinerate farm down range, so Salazzle won't be taken out by one Water Shuriken, so Incinerate gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Zapdos into Talonflame here, and we honestly really need to get rid of this Talonflame, as we've got 2 Pokemon that absolutely do not want to see Talonflame. 2 Pokemon double weak to fire. Leavanny actually also double weak to the flying typing, so we need to get rid of this thing here. We need them to no shield this, and we go for the Thunderbolt, which unfortunately is shielded. At this point, I think our only way of getting rid of this Talonflame is if we get damage registration error, and we get exactly that there. That means the Incinerate damage, it won't register. We're able to take out the Talonflame. We're going to bank a Drill Peck, then swap out there into our Leavanny. Of course, having 2 Pokemon that do fairly well into Cresselia, we're going to, of course, have to let the Moonblast go through, but they don't debuff our attack. Moonblast does just under 50% of HP, so we can go for an X-Scissor. The opponent will outpace us to the next charge move, but Leavanny should just barely hang on here. It does hang on, and we're able to make it to another X-Scissor. So X-Scissor number 2, we're actually going to undercharge this to get more farm on our Scissor. Very nice play there. The opponent doesn't swap out and take advantage of that, but either way, they've got Greninja in the back. They can go for a Hydro Cannon, but this is a non-Shadow Scissor, so we're able to tank that, fire off the Trailblaze here, but likewise Trailblaze won't quite get the KO, but it doesn't matter, as Zapdos had their Drill Peck already loaded. Drill Peck gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, going to lead Runerigus into a Shadow Donphan. So this isn't the worst matchup ever, of course. Body Slams are going to be double resisted. They'd have to go for Trailblaze there, which they probably would anyways. But they're going to swap into a Como O. And we do have Triple Axle for coverage. Triple Axle hits very hard. It also boosts our attack. It forces the opponent to throw their charge move. And Dragon Claw actually doesn't quite take us out there. So we make it to a second Triple Axle. Very likely grabbing a shield here. And we do grab that shield. Now at this point, we're going to come back in with the Runerigus, and we're going to go for a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing is resisted. It probably won't quite take them out here, but it grabs the shield anyways, the final shield, and then we're able to swap into our Decidueye, catching a resisted Trailblaze there. Trailblaze, of course, going to be hitting for single resisted damage. Body Slam is double resisted, so Trailblaze definitely makes sense here. It also boosts their attack, but we get a full Leafage Farm down, and the opponent's going to come back in with their Como O, but they do make it to a charge move. We're going to no shield, just fully sacrificing Decidueye. I am not sure about that, but we come back in with the Runerigus. Brutal Swing will finally take out the Como O, and they've got a Shadow for Alligator in the back. So honestly, we're getting a little bit lucky here, as if they had slightly, well, maybe if it's a non-Shadow version of the Feraligatr, they'd be able to live 2 charge moves here from the Runerigus and fully Shadow Claw farm us down. But we're able to make it to the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we're going to have a triple lizard theme team here with Heliolisk in the lead, and we're actually running Bulldoze, which the opponent probably won't expect. So Bulldoze goes unshielded, it does big damage, unfortunately not quite enough damage to KO, and they actually go for a Dragon Pulse as well, which is very unexpected. The opponent then swaps into a Giratina, and we are going to shield this. We overfarm considerably, but unfortunately not quite at back-to-back breaking swipes. So we go for the first one, and unfortunately they do make it to another charge move just before we make it to breaking swipe number 2. So now we're going to go for 1 extra Volt Switch, fire off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe is going to grab the first shield from the opponent, and we're able to make it to yet another Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe actually grabs the final shield from the opponent, so now we're going to swap into our Sceptile. Of course, no shields remaining. They're going to go for a Dragon Claw, doesn't do too much damage there. Honestly, I think Earthquake should be enough damage to get the KO, so we're going to go for 1 extra Bullet Seed, throwing on very good timing there. Gonna fire off the Earthquake. Earthquake does get the KO, and let's see what they've got in the back. The opponent's going to come in with a Feraligatr, and we are going to swap and catch the charge move. I don't know if that was really necessary, but we swap and catch it onto Inteleon. The opponent then comes in with Ampharos. They tried to snipe there, but they're not able to do so. We're able to make it to the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does big damage, but they're actually able to Shadow Claw farm us down. It doesn't really matter. Sceptile should be winning CMP in this matchup. We're actually going to come in with the Heliolisk, catch the charge move there, and now go for the Leaf Blade, which we could have thrown way earlier in the battle. Leaf Blade finally takes out Feraligatr, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we can see Jolteon into a Dragonite. Now, I do believe this trainer said that Jolteon and Kabuto were both caught in 2016, and then I believe the Roserade is the first shiny that they caught. So, obviously, not really a theme team in terms of like what it means to us, but definitely means something to this trainer. But either way, I'm going to go and throw the Discharge, once again throwing on CMP. I'm not so sure about that, but at this point, we're actually just going to let the Jolteon go down, come in with Kabutops, then swap and catch the charge move. I don't really know if that makes an awful lot of sense either, but either either way, we catch the Dragon Claw there, and Poison Jab doing big damage. We actually get the farm down as the opponent comes in with Sizzle. Do they know about the Fire Weather Ball coverage? Surely they do. Weather Ball is going to grab the final shield, but we're able to make it to another Weather Ball, and this is going to hit for double super effective damage. It takes out the Scissor, and they come in with Greninja, so it makes sense as to why they didn't come in, well, why they came in with the Sizzle there, but unfortunately, we just had the right tech to beat both Greninja and the Sizzle there. But we're going to come in with the Kabuto. We did obviously, well, sorry, Kabutops. We did obviously bank some energy initially with the Dragonite, or against the Dragonite, so we're able to make it to back-to-back Ancient Powers. Ancient Power number 2 gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we're going to have a triple Shadow Flying team here with Crobat in the lead up against Talonflame. We do throw an alignment, which is very risky, as of course if the opponent goes for an extra Incinerate is just so deadly for us. But either way, we go for the Poison Fang, drop their defense, and we try to snipe them with the gust damage from Shadow Staraptor. Unfortunately, not able to do so, but we do finally take them out there, going down a shield. But let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Shadow Machamp, and we are choosing not to throw here. And that is a very smart play, because now we can commit to the full gust farm down up against the Machamp there, and they've got a Feraligatr in the back, so we're going to go straight for the Fly. Fly is going to grab the first shield from the opponent. We're then going to go straight for a Close Combat. Close Combat is going to grab, well actually no, it doesn't get shielded there, and by the way, I do believe Close Combat, despite being non-stab, does do ever so slightly more damage than the Fly. Unfortunately, the Shadow Honchkrow is straight in and straight out, going down to the Ice Beam, but it doesn't really matter. We come in with the Crobat, basically force the opponent to throw their energy. They can commit to the farm down, as of course we got the farm down first. But into next battle, we're going to see a Shift Tree into a Goodra, say swapping into a attack from Deoxys, going straight for Psycho Boost just before we go down there, and then coming back in with our Shift Tree. Now, we probably resist most of the charge moves, except for Draco Meteor, which is very fortunate that we shield that up. We can now go for a Foul Play, and Foul Play is going to be no shielded by the opponent. We can then go for a Leaf Blade, and Leaf Blade, despite being resisted, will get the KO. The opponent's going to come in with a Skeledirge, so not really ideal for us, but we do of course have a Foul Play. We're going to fire off the Foul Play. Foul Play is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, and at this point we come in with our Banette, and the opponent makes a big mistake there, not throwing any energy, and that might come back to haunt them as we go for the Shadow Ball, dealing huge damage and potentially putting them into perfect farm down range for the Banette. They go for Brutal Swing, but Banette gets the perfect farm down, coming out with the Shadow Ball loaded, and of course easily winning CMP up against the Skeledirge. Shadow Ball gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. So we're now going to go into the Master League battles here, as we're going to see a Zacian in the lead up against our Gengar. We're going to stay in this matchup. Unfortunately, they are running Snarl and not Quick Attack. Of course, Quick Attack would be double resisted, while Snarl is super effective, so definitely not ideal for us. We're going to shield, and they actually go for the Play Rough there, so not wanting to debuff. Well, actually, they might just be running Close Combat as the other charge move, but either way, we go for a Shadow Punch. They swap into Zarude, and they're about to catch a Focus Blast. Focus Blast gets the one-shot up against the Zarude, and they come in with a Mewtwo, so Gengar absolutely popping off right now. Gonna fire off the Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch is going to be shielded. We're now going to swap into a Purified Gallade, and we're going to no-shield this. If it's a Shadow Ball, it easily gets the KO, but Side Strike, we're actually able to tank that. Fire off a Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade not going to do too much damage in this matchup, but the opponent swaps back into Zacian, and at this point, we probably just let Gallade go down. Yeah, we're going to do that. The opponent goes for another Play Rough there, so not revealing what their other move is. We're going to come in with the Alakazam, and we are running Psycho Cut, I believe, so going to gain energy a little bit faster than Counter does now. They go for the Wild Charge there, and we are going to throw just before we make it to a Fire Punch and a Shadow Ball. Fire Punch will get the KO, and one more Psycho Cut. We're able to make it to the Shadow Ball up against the Mewtwo. Shadow Ball gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, Pangoro into Mewtwo. So this is a fairly good matchup for us. We get a lot of stutters there. We're going to go straight for the Night Slash. Night Slash is going to be shielded by the opponent. Definitely would not recommend shielding the first charge move from a Pangoro, just because Night Slash does have the chance to boost, but actually the opponent's going to double shield here. They're then going to farm up a ton of energy and go for a Psychic, which makes not much sense at all, but we're going to shield the next move as well. And this time they go for a flamethrower, so this Mewtwo is running all sorts of weird moves here. Either way, we're going to go and fire off another Night Slash there. Night Slash does get them fairly low, and then they swap into a Melmetal. So we're going straight for, the Close Combat. Close Combat does big damage. We're then going to swap into our Beedrill, hoping to catch a Superpower. And the opponent does fire off the Superpower, which is double resisted. Of course, Beedrill only at just barely over 2000 CP, but we can tank double resisted Superpowers very comfortably. Surely they're running Rock Slide or something else to throw here, but either way, we go for Drill Run. Drill Run gets the KO there. They come in with a Dialga, and Beedrill actually able to make it to another Drill Run. Drill Run number 2 doesn't really do much damage at all, but we can swap back into Pangoro, go straight for the Close Combat. Close Combat gets the KO there. They come back in with the Mewtwo, and they do unfortunately win CMP, so the opponent's going to go for the Flamethrower. Flamethrower gets the KO. We can come in with our Venusaur, and they are in the perfect farm down range for the Vine Whips, taking out the Mewtwo, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Typhlosion into Yveltal. So we are going to go and fire after 3 Incinerates. Going to go for the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch won't really do that much damage here, but it does grab a shield, and it forces the opponent to throw their energy. So the opponent's going to go for the Oblivion Wing there. We're going to go for 1 extra Incinerate, and the opponent makes a nice catch, but catching it onto Ho-Oh. So Thunder Punch, still super effective damage there. You can see just from the difference in stat product, that Thunder Punch really did not do much damage whatsoever. But we can come in with the Hydreigon, go for Brutal Swing. Unfortunately, that still doesn't quite get the KO there. So at this point, Brave Bird would do huge damage, so we're definitely going to shield that up. Go for the full Dragon Breath farm down, and the opponent's going to come in with a Necrozma. So we are going to go for the Brutal Swing here. Brutal Swing is going to do super effective damage. It grabs the shield. We then swap into our Staraptor, and the opponent throws perfect timing there just before we make it to the Close Combat. They go for an Iron Head though, which does not get the KO. They then swap back into Yveltal. We're going to go for the Fly. Fly also not getting the KO there, but we should be able to come in with Hydreigon, throw on. Was that CMP there? I'm not sure. But Brutal Swing gets the KO. The opponent's going to come back in with Necroz, but we're trying to swap out, and we are able to swap at the perfect time into Typhlosion. They actually go for an Outrage there, so not actually running the signature move for Necrozma. But either way, we're able to go for Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, and possibly not the spiciest battle ever, and as I'm recording this, I've actually accidentally blurred the wrong part, so this whole battle is completely blurred for me. Of course, when I'm editing it, I will fix that, but just in case, like, I can't really see much here, so if I do make any mistakes on commentary, don't be too harsh. But either way, we are going to swap into our Ho-Oh, and the opponent comes in with Viperia. I don't think this is enough energy for the Rock Wrecker, so we're going to no shield. The opponent probably went for Breaky Swipe there, I can't really tell. But either way, we are full sending a Solar Beam, and unfortunately that is shielded by the Viperia. But Ho-Oh still working out well, because we're able to bait at Rhyperior, which means that our Moltres in the back will be clear from potentially other Rock-type Pokemon, at least hopefully anyways. But either way, we're going to go for a Grass Knot. Grass Knot gets the KO. The opponent's going to come in with a Mewtwo, and they're not going to, well, okay, they are going to throw straight away. We're definitely going to shield this as the opponent goes for a Psy Strike. We can now overfarm in this matchup. We're then going to swap. We try to make a catch, but the opponent swaps at the exact same time into the Dragonite, going for a Dragon Claw there. We're committing to a full Fire Spin farm down, but unfortunately, the opponent makes it to another charge move. That doesn't quite take us out though, and we are able to get the Fire Spin farm down, coming out with the Overheat already loaded. We full send it. Overheat grabs the shield from the Mewtwo, but we can come back in with the Tapu Bulu, go straight for a Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness drops their defense, and we're able to make it to a Grass Knot, and Grass Knot is easily enough damage to take out the Mewtwo, and we're able to take that game. And into the final battle of this video, leading a Tyranitar into a Goodra. The opponent say swaps into a Togekiss, and we're going to come in with a Magical Leaf, Shadow, Victory Bell. Going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to be no shielded by the opponent. It puts them into farm down range there, and the opponent's going to come back in with the Goodra. Unfortunately, not certain if we would actually make it to a Sludge Bomb once again, but we grab a shield anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can now come back in with the Tyranitar, and we are going to possibly shield this move. The opponent's going to go for a Power Whip, which is very interesting. We can now full send a Stone Edge. Stone Edge, of course, going to hit for very nice damage here. Stone Edge goes unshielded, and at this point we're probably going to commit to a full SmackDown farm down here. Can't really swap into Swampert as we've seen they're running Power Whip, and Power Whip would definitely one-shot us, but either way, you're going to get the full farm down, and they come in with a Shadow Excadrill, so going straight for the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing grabs the final shield. Now we can come in with the Swampert, and they're actually on Mud Shot, so not dealing much fast move damage whatsoever. Drill Run does big damage, but not enough to get the KO, but Hydro Cannon will certainly get the KO up against the Excadrill, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.